Hey everyone, let's build a collection. And today, I'd like to go over some more yard sale finds that I picked up. Everything from the PS1 through the PS4. So without further ado, let's get started. Working backwards from the PS4, the first and only PS4 game we have here is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Very common game. But for me, it's the PlayStation Hits version. And I'm working on a full collection of the PlayStation Hits. I think I'm down to less than 10 games left that I need to get for them. So PlayStation 4, Uncharted 4. This is a really fun game. I've played it. It was on PS Plus that I played it, or I've actually had the actual version itself, and love this game. Maybe played about 2 or 3 years ago over a Christmas break, the vacation that I took. Love the Uncharted series, and 4 is a fantastic way to end the series. If you haven't played Uncharted, give it a go. It's one of the best game series that I've ever played. Moving backward in time to the PS3, we have Doom 3 BFG edition. Now, Doom 3 is more of a horror kind of a shooter game for the Doom series, where Doom today is a very active, chaotic, frantic platforming shooter. I've played both of the modern ones. I've not played the Dark Ages yet. I don't know that I'm going to, actually. But Doom 3 was very much it was scary back in the day. I got Doom 3 for Christmas when it came out, but not on the PlayStation. I actually had it on PC. And I can remember installing that and playing that over the Christmas break then, being scared out of my mind, creeping around corners. It was probably the first modern looking game that I'd ever played. Truly loved it. And I don't know if it's aged well or not, but I can definitely say I'm looking forward to revisiting Doom 3 on the PS3. We have Family Guy, Back to the Multiverse. I've not seen this one anywhere, including retail stores like what we have around here called The Exchange. Other people have different types of media exchanges, but mine's called The Exchange. I've not seen this at Retro Gamestops. So when I finally saw this at a yard sale of all places, and for a couple of bucks, I scooped it up. I'm really excited to play this one. I love Family Guy. It's been reviewed fairly well by people. I don't think it's the greatest game out there, but it's going to be entertaining. I like a good licensed game. I like a humorous game. So this should be a fun one to play. I'm very happy to add this to my collection. Going back in time again to the PS2, this is the majority of what I picked up was on the PS2. And I've noticed throughout the yard sales that I've gone to this year, I've seen a lot more PS2 than any other generation of game out there. Maybe with the exception of PS4. I happen to see quite a bit of those. But PS2 and PS4, I see a majority of those. And here we have Test Drive. Now, I can't remember if this is the one or if it was Test Drive 2 or 4. There's so many Test Drives. One of these games, I went and burned a copy from my friend on his PC, brought it back to mine and installed it. Fell in love with the Test Drive series. I thought this was such a fun arcade-style racer. And so when I saw Test Drive on the tail for $1, I mean, no brainer to pick this thing up and give it a try. I've not played the original Test Drive, so I'm hoping this is going to be a good time. You can see some of the music here. It says music by DMX, Ja Rule, Junkie XL, Bubba Sparks, and Saliva. I'm sure there's more artists in here. I do recall the music being one of the more standout features of the Test Drive series. So here we go, Test Drive 1 on the PS2. Next we have The Force Unleashed, Star Wars game. Now, I originally played The Force Unleashed 1 and 2, again, on the PC. That's where I played most of my games for quite a long time, if you followed any of the history video that I did, the history of gaming that I did. But I've also picked up The Force Unleashed on PS3, and I've played it there. Now, I didn't find that one to be that good of a game. I found it to be very old feeling. And then when I played The Force Unleashed 2, it felt very modern. The controls feel very different. I don't know if you've ever picked up the game before and played it, but you probably have to play it just to understand what I mean by that. And then I saw someone review recently The Force Unleashed on the PS2. and they basically said this was the definitive way to play The Force Unleashed, that it feels so much better on the PS2 compared to the PS3. And when I saw this one on the table for $1, I mean, I couldn't pass that up. So we're adding The Force Unleashed for the PS2 to the collection, and I'm doing a rare thing that I don't normally do, and I'm keeping 2 versions of the game. I don't know if that means this is a slightly different story, or if it's just the gameplay that's different, but I've heard enough people say that it is different enough to warrant a playthrough. Next up, we have The Matrix: Path of Neo. Now, growing up, I played Enter the Matrix, and again, on the PC. I'm positive it was a burn copy. I'm positive or I just went and downloaded a pirated version of it with and then put a trainer to it or a CD key generator or something to it to play it. Because I do remember that story quite clearly and playing it on my old 500 Celeron HP PC that I had. And around that time, I was also big into The Matrix Online, an MMO. Super unique kind of an MMO side story here, where you can play a hacker and you can play a healer as a hacker, and you're basically writing code in thin air and sending viruses to other people or healing people, or if you wanted to, you could go and learn Kung Fu like in the movie, or learn submachine guns or some other kind of a thing that's very much like The Matrix. Now, The Matrix Path of Neo is more the story about Neo. It's not a side story like Enter the Matrix was. It's not a story about you as The Matrix Online was. This is about Neo. And I can't remember if this was reviewed well or not, but I was a big Matrix fan, and I've said it multiple times. I collect licensed games, so this is an obvious add to the collection. This one, I think I paid $5 on the table for the PS2 game. I don't think it's terribly expensive, but I was very excited to actually find this one out in the wild, and it was pretty clean. Next up is Burnout 2, Point of Impact. I am slowly collecting the entire Burnout series. I have the first one, the third one, and is it called Revenge? I think it's the other one that doesn't have a number tied to it. And I've only ever played one of them. I played Burnout Paradise on the PC. Again, I loved it. And ever since then, I've been trying to collect the entire Burnout series. I understand they're not a terribly expensive series. It's just been fun trying to find them at yard sales. And when I found this one, I quickly looked it up on my Game Eye app, and I did not have it. So very excited to add this one to the collection here, Burnout 2, Point of Impact. Next up, we have Batman Vengeance. I know nothing about this game. Absolutely nothing. I didn't even know it existed. I saw it on the table for a couple of bucks. I quickly checked my app to see if I had it, and I didn't, obviously, because I don't remember it at all, and picked it up. So I believe it's an adventure game, an action-adventure game. Looking forward to playing it. I love the Batman Arkham series. I'm not saying this is supposed to be an Arkham series game. I'm just saying I like the Batman games. I have some of the DC fighting games, Injustice. I have the Mortal Kombat versus DC. I really enjoy DC. I've even been playing DC on my mobile, on my phone lately. There's a couple of cool DC games that have been put out there. So when I saw Batman Vengeance, I thought, obviously need to add this to the collection. It's a licensed game that I don't have. So here we go, Batman Vengeance. Next up, we have Manhunt. Now there's a little bit of a story with this one. Not this particular copy of it, but Manhunt in general. When I was younger, and I actually did have a PS2 growing up, it was my brother's PS2, and I borrowed it for a while, and we would go to flea markets, every other Sunday or so. And there was this one vendor, I remember he was toward the front of the flea market, and this flea market was in an old drive-in movie theater. And he was toward the front, and he had nothing but video games. Tons of NES, tons of Genesis, PlayStation, SNES, PlayStation 2. And there was nothing newer than that. That was as new as it was, because that was around the time when the PS2 was out. And I can remember seeing Manhunt and picking it up for, back then, maybe $10 at the flea market. And bringing that home and playing it and thinking, what on earth did I just buy? I want to say in the first scene or the first stage, you're on a camera and you go and you pick up a plastic bag and you strangle someone or suffocate them or something along those lines. I'm like, I don't know what I just bought here. I was pretty young at the time. I don't even know when this game came out. Let's see if we can find the year on here. 2003. Okay, so in 2003, I would have been 17 to 18, somewhere in that time frame. So I'd never played anything quite like Manhunt. I don't recall beating it. I don't recall playing much past the first or second kill that you make in Manhunt. And I just had to get this game back. And when I went and tried to look and find it, I was surprised at how much money this game was. This was a much more expensive than your average $10 to $20 game. So I think it just stayed off of my list and I never picked it up because of that. But I did happen to find this one at a yard sale. And it felt very much like when I was at the flea market picking it up for the first time again. I had to bring this home and I again put it in and I didn't make it much past the first or second kill. It was more because I wanted to savor it for later than it was I was disgusted by it. But you know, this time I've got Manhunt and I'm going to be keeping it in the collection. Alright, here's an exception to the rule. We have Manhunt 2. And as you can see, there is a GameStop sticker on here. And yes, I did actually pay this. I paid the pro price for it. And the only reason I did is because earlier that day I picked up Manhunt, as you've just seen in the previous clip. So when I saw Manhunt 2 there, I thought, it just has to be. I have to have this to complete the Manhunt collection. Where on earth do you see the first and the second one in one day and be able to add them to your collection? So I picked up Manhunt 2. And I popped this one in just to make sure it played. Nothing more than that. Saw the intro video that was playing, turned it off. I don't want to play it yet. I'm going to play it one day. But I'm just super excited to say now I've got both Manhunt and Manhunt 2 in the collection. And the final game, going back yet one more generation to the PlayStation, is Parasite Eve. Now, when this game was originally out, I never played it. I was a fan of Squaresoft. I had played Final Fantasy VII, for example. I played Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX. I knew who Squaresoft was. I'd never heard of Parasite Eve. I'm not saying it wasn't a popular title or anything like that. I recognize that it was a fan-based title, a cult-based title maybe, if you will. I just never heard of it, so I'd never played it. Until recently, I was confusing this with some other games, and I happened to see this in a pile of generic PlayStation games, basically, at a yard sale. And whenever I see something that has the double disc case in it, I get kind of excited, because those are usually the games that I want. That means they're probably an RPG or something good that I want to play. So I go straight for those. When I saw Parasite Eve, I have to add this to the collection for a couple of bucks. I got to add this to the collection. So very happy to have it. It does include the music disc as well. Not music disc. I think it's a music disc. The demo disc of other games in here. So we have Xenogears, Bushido Blade 2, which, fun story about that, I played these on the PlayStation Underground disc with my best friend Jimmy back in the day. We have Masashi, Final Fantasy VIII. So cool demos it looks like in here that we could play. But either way, very excited to be adding Parasite Eve to the collection. Overall, what a great day yard selling. I've really gotten into it a lot this year, mostly because I've been more actively collecting video games, specific video games that I'm looking for, not just any old game. So when I walk into a sale, I'm not just picking up everything because it might be on sale, but I'm looking for very specific things. Again, I've said before, I've created a listing in my GameEye app. It's my wish list. So if something's on there, I feel comfortable picking it up. And that does mean I might pay up for something. If I want it for my personal collection, I'm obviously going to pay up for it. I don't tend to go out looking for something to resell, but if I see something that I might be able to sell in order to get something else as part of my collection, then I go ahead and do that. So in my area, I've developed a few friends and following of folks where if one of us finds something out in the wild, we might pick it up and then sell it to the other person for either what we paid for it, if it depends on what the price is, or maybe a little bit more to help fund some other things and the cost of picking it up and getting it back to them. But nothing crazy. You wouldn't ever see us selling Parasite Eve, for example, for $80 or $60, right? I don't even know what it really goes for. Is it $40 or $50 or something? But you'd probably see us if we picked it up for $5 or a couple of dollars, probably selling it for $10 to $20. We've done things like that in the past. So always fun to be going out there and seeing what we can find for each other. This just happens to be my recent haul, and I'm going to be keeping every single one of these. I've mentioned before I'm collecting the Greatest Hits PS4. We are nearing the end of that. There's some really tough ones out there to get, like the Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. That is really hard to find. I cannot find that anywhere. So once the collection gets a little bit more complete, I'm probably going to do a video on that, just show you the last few that I'm trying to collect for it. So have you been out recently doing any kind of yard sailing, maybe at any flea markets, found something really special online, won it in an auction, whether it was eBay or whatnot? Tell me about it. Leave a comment and be sure to like and subscribe. And together, let's build a collection. See ya.